8 real U.S. tornado deaths. 1. The Tri-State Tornado. 695 dead, no warning, 1925. There was no reliable storm forecasting in 1925, and no warning system at all. All people had was a darkening sky to the west, and by the time they realized what was coming, it was already on top of them. The Tri-State Tornado traveled 219 miles across Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, the longest path ever recorded for a single tornado, staying on the ground for over 3.5 hours straight. It wiped out 40% of the city of Murfreesboro alone, killing 234 people there, the most deaths any single municipality has ever suffered from one tornado. Entire towns were erased from the map in minutes. Families were buried alive under their own homes. A wooden board was driven so deeply into a maple tree by the force of the wind that it could hold the weight of a full-grown man. 695 people died. Thousands more never rebuilt. 2. The Cooper Pants Factory. 70 workers trapped and burned, 1936. On the morning of April 6, 1936, the Gainesville Tornado struck, the only morning tornado in U.S. history to kill more than 100 people. Most people were already at work. The tornado destroyed the Cooper Pants Factory, killing 70 workers, the highest tornado death toll from a single building in U.S. history. The building collapsed and immediately caught fire, trapping workers inside. There was no time to run and no way out once the walls came down. Co-workers who survived described hearing screaming from inside the rubble as the fire spread. The tornado tore through the heart of a busy business district filled with workers and shoppers, which is why the death toll climbed so fast. 203 people died across Gainesville that morning. Most of them had simply gone to work. 3. The Woodward Tornado, a hero who died saving the town, 1947. The Woodward Tornado was almost 2 miles wide and traveled for 100 miles at speeds of up to 50 miles per hour. As it bore down on Woodward, Oklahoma, a worker at the electricity utility made a split-second decision. He cut the power to the entire town before the tornado hit, knowing that downed power lines would spark fires across the wreckage. Seconds after he threw the switch, the tornado killed him. Because of what he did, fires never broke out across the debris field. Hundreds of survivors who might have burned to death in collapsed buildings were spared that fate. 181 people still died in the storm, but without that one man's final act, the death toll would have been catastrophic. 4. New Richmond Circus Tornado, struck on opening day, 1899. The deadliest tornado in Wisconsin history happened on June 12, 1899, when 117 people were killed in New Richmond. It struck in the middle of the afternoon on the very first day of the Golmar Brothers Circus, with flying debris causing deaths across the crowd. Families had traveled from surrounding towns specifically for opening day. Children, parents, and grandparents packed into the fairgrounds. The tornado gave almost no warning before it tore directly through the heart of the event. People who had been laughing and watching performers moments before were buried under collapsed canvas, splintered wagons, and debris. It remains one of the most haunting tornado tragedies in U.S. history, not a town caught off guard, but a celebration turned to disaster in seconds. 5. The Joplin Tornado. The warning system failed, 2011. The Joplin Tornado was the first, and so far the only, major failure of the modern tornado warning system. It highlights how vital that system is. When it fails, fatalities climb into triple digits. The 1-mile-wide tornado was the third to strike Joplin since 1971. More than 1,000 people were injured, and almost $3 billion worth of damage was caused. More than half of the 158 who died were killed inside their own homes, the place people instinctively run to for safety. Several people were killed inside large big-box stores in the east part of the city. It showed that even in the modern era, a violent tornado can still cause catastrophic losses when it cuts through a populated city. 158 people died on a Sunday afternoon in May. 6. Moore, Oklahoma. Children killed at school, 2013. Moore, Oklahoma, a city already scarred by a deadly 1999 storm, faced another EF5 tornado on May 20, 2013. With winds exceeding 210 miles per hour, it destroyed 2 elementary schools during school hours, tragically killing 7 children. Parents who had heard the warnings rushed toward the schools only to find the buildings completely flattened. Rescue workers dug through concrete and twisted metal with bare hands, trying to find children in the rubble. 7 kids never came home. The tornado claimed 24 lives in total and caused $2 billion in damages. The image of those destroyed schools became one of the defining photographs of American tornado history, a reminder that no building, not even one full of children, is guaranteed to survive an EF 5.7. The February Super Outbreak, while America voted, 2008. During the night of February 5–6, 2008, while Americans were casting votes in the presidential primaries, 87 tornadoes ripped through the South. The deadliest, an EF4 tornado, struck Arkansas and Tennessee, killing 57 people. What made this event particularly unusual was its timing. Tornadoes are rare in February. Warm, unstable air fueled the disaster, and many victims found themselves completely unprepared, highlighting the need for constant vigilance regardless of the season. People were asleep, indoors, watching election results on television. Nobody was looking at the sky. The storms hit hardest in rural areas where mobile homes offered almost no protection at all. By morning, entire communities had been leveled overnight, while the rest of the country had been watching vote counts roll in. The 2011 Super Outbreak, 324 dead in 24 hours. 2011. The 2011 Super Outbreak was the largest tornado outbreak spawned by a single weather system in recorded history, producing 367 tornadoes from April 25 to 28, with 223 of those in a single 24-hour period on April 27th. An EF5 tornado struck Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, Alabama, killing 72 people, obliterating entire communities and industrial sites that proved no match for winds exceeding 200 miles per hour. On the same day, an EF4 tornado ravaged Tuscaloosa and Birmingham with a path stretching more than 80 miles and a width of nearly 1.5 miles. People sheltering in bathrooms, closets, and hallways found those spaces offered no protection against a tornado of that magnitude. 348 people died in the outbreak total, 324 of them from tornadoes alone. It remains the single most violent 24-hour period in American weather history.